Welcome back to Success Stories. Super happy to have you today. So we cover people's personal success, business, nonprofits, or folks who are just doing some crazy things. I have one of the this is a guest when I thought of this idea of starting this, and I was like, I have to do this. His name is Connor. He'll be on here in a second, but he has just an incredible career journey, life story of what he's doing now. So we're going to bring him in. Welcome, Connor.
Ryan, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it as I hit the mic.
Hit it, dude. We'll screw things up. It's fine. I am producing today, so if it's a little messy, my producer Amy's not here with us. We do have an in-studio guest, Jerry. He's hanging out, so he's a noisy guy if you hear him in the background. Connor, pronounce your last name.
It's Luyckx.
Luyckx.
Yes.
I should have tried on my own. I was going to call it Luyckx. And I've known you a very long time, which is ridiculous that I can't say your last name. So, all right, man. Let's jump into this, and I don't even know where to start with you because there's so many things I want to cover because what you do for a living is so unique, and you got some really neat side projects going on. But give our viewers just your background, like from Connor the young man to what happened in high school, and then going into like what you originally, before we get into the best, like what did you originally intend to do from a career perspective?
First, I want to give you this.
Oh, what is this?
I heard from a friend.
Whoa.
You're a fan.
4 roses.
So thank
it's a little early to be drinking, but thank you.
I heard you're
is it? Yeah, I call it 13 flowers because I'm bad at remembering things.
Okay.
Yeah.
No worries.
Yeah.
I heard you're on a little diet, but
oh yeah, I can indulge a little.
Yeah, you gotta have some fun here.
You're the man. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, give it to us, man.
But yeah, so basically, from the area like you, and had a 2-parent upbringing, traditional. All is well, all is good. Not a lot of trauma to report on, unfortunately. But I kind of had the business background and grew up, had a lawn service in high school. And as I progressed through a couple colleges there, started focusing more towards accounting.
What did you originally go to college for? What were your
Originally finance.
Finance. Okay.
Originally girls and soccer.
Okay, good. Yeah.
So, but landed on finance and then turned into accounting. But over time, I think I never finished, but I ended up with over 100 credits and took a lot of accounting, hardcore accouning, tax accounting.
Did you get your student loan debt forgiven?
Yeah. No,
right.
I went to cheap schools, so paid along the way for the most part. But after a certain amount of time and really getting into deep tax accounting and figuring out how much fun that is, came up with this idea. Are you familiar with Ryan Panetta?
YouTube.
Yes,
I've seen some of his videos. Yes.
Okay,
yeah,
he's excellent. He's a real estate guy out of Las Vegas.
Yep.
And I guess one of the questions his followers were having early on was, how did you raise capital? And what he did was he started just flipping couches, essentially. And so he got a storage unit. He was living in an apartment, but he got a storage unit and started stocking up on couches and love seats and chairs, and literally just started flipping them for a couple $100.
So how did you find this guy? Were you like thinking I need to do something different, or were you just like randomly scrolling through your phone and saw his video?
Here I am in this job I can't really stand, and it's virtual, and I got a lot of time on my phone every day, and had a friend of mine that was living with me at the time who kind of turned me on to this guy. And I was like, I started looking on Facebook and Craigslist, and I'm like, man, there's money to be made here. If you have a truck, if you have the means to do it, $100, a couple $100 just to offer delivery, very, very easily done. Because some people need the stuff, or they need to get rid of it, and they just don't have the resources to do it. So saw the opportunity.
So, all right, we're going to get to this, but so many people. I mean, I'm sitting in this room. I've watched the YouTube videos. I'm like, oh, I can do that. Like, I should do that, and then you never even start, right? Because it just seems overwhelming. Like the concepts of flipping seems cool to me, but then to actually be like, all right, I'm going to go buy something and flip it. So when did the switch flip for you? Like that you're like, hey, I'm actually going to try this. Like what happened?
That's a good question. So yeah, I think just so many months of, sitting back and realizing that right? Because if you're in tax accounting or like me, if you had a tax accounting internship, your last day is April 15th. Right. So January, February, March, I'm like, all right, gotta figure something out for post April 15th. And so I had a couple months to kind of plot this out. And I started playing like Fantasy Couch on Facebook and going, oh, this I saw this one posted yesterday, and I can tell it's the same exact one. It was bought in Roseville, and this guy's selling it in Sterling
So you
Heights.
started seeing other people doing it,
yes,
by following just the post
for months.
Interesting.
And so I'm in meetings all day, and I'm watching this, and I'm going, I'm losing out on like $200 or $300 right now. Like I saw this couch yesterday; it was a great deal. But
all right, so you're playing couch fantasy football or whatever you call it. I think that's awesome. How much money did you have to get started? Like what did you need to get in? How much was it?
That's another really good question. So the great thing with a lot of this entry level flipping, especially if you're not like doing real estate, it's really not that much, and even less if you already have a vehicle to do it. Luckily, shout out to my mom, I did borrow her truck for the first couple months of this, just to make sure it was lucrative and it was something I wanted to do moving forward. And so I had been bugging her. I'm like, Mom, April 15th, I need your truck. I'm buying a couch the last day.
She gave it up? She let you use it?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. So went and got her truck. I went and bought my first couch on tax day, April 15th.
How much?
It was a sectional. I bought it. They had it posted on Facebook for $300. It was this.
Okay.
It was this lady, and these are the situations.
Now, did you have your plan? Like you're like, all right, I'm going to get the couch. Like, did you need to clean it?
Okay, so I'll get to that. One thing you try to do is, and I didn't know this early on, but you obviously want to not just minimize your costs, but also your time put into each product.
Sure.
And if you're going to clean it, if you're going to do all these things, it better be worth it, right?
Right.
The margins better be there. But no, this was a young lady who was relocating out of her apartment and just needed stuff gone.
Yeah.
And luckily it was in really good shape. She only had it for a year or two. And so she had it posted for like $300, and I was a horrible negotiator at the time. I got a lot better.
Yeah.
And I thought
What'd you pay?
I thought it was so cool that I negotiated her down to $280.
Woo! Margin.
Yeah. So we got her down to $280, and her dad helped me put it in my mom's truck. Came home that night, did a quick, 15-minute vacuum. I mean, minimal maintenance. And had it posted on back on Facebook within an hour. By the next morning, I had offers and I got a deal done.
What did you? So you bought it for $280.
Bought it for $280.
You cleaned it.
Yes.
You took your own pictures.
Yes.
Is that important?
That's a really good question too. Not to keep saying that, but a lot of people, what they do when they get into couch flipping is they'll just take pictures either at the person's house, which is going to piss a lot of people off
because then they know what you're doing.
Exactly.
All right.
Or they bring it into their yard and they take pictures on like grass or on dirt in the driveway, and
it looks like crap.
Yeah, it looks like it's going in the trash.
Yep.
So no, I had a system where I could pull it up right to my door, slide it in for pictures, slide out, and just in that first room, and my wife loved this. Not really. I would just keep that room open for pictures, and kind of like my.
So that was the staging room.
Yes.
All right. So you bought it for $280.
Yeah.
You bring it home. You put it in the staging room.
Yes.
You take your picture. You post it in an hour.
Yes.
What does it sell for?
$600.
Holy crap!
So that was the first one,
wow.
And then we delivered that, I believe, a couple days later, but already had a couple going. But to answer your question about how much startup, I mean, it helps that you need a truck, some kind of vehicle to transport. That's most important. But if you have a couple $100 cash, I mean, even nothing, you can go pick up something for free that I guarantee you is worth $100 today.
Wow. Are you doing? Do you do a lot of free stuff? Do you look in the free ads too, or do you primarily?
I do. And there's a huge market for that. I know a lot of people that are having a lot of success with that, but I'd rather spend more.
Yeah.
To demand a higher selling price on my end personally, but to each their own.
Yeah. All right. A couple more questions. So if you come to my house and you buy my sectional,
yes,
and then the next day I see my same sectional for sale, like, do you ever get angry people who are like, are you kidding me? Like, you bought this couch and you just put it up for $600? Like, what does that look like?
Of course. So couple ways to kind of navigate that. and I wish Ryan Pineda put this out there more. Now, I don't come out and say that I'm flipping your stuff.
Okay.
Because exactly what you just implied, people get upset.
Yeah.
And which is weird to me because
I think it's weird too. Raise your price if you don't want people flipping it.
Raise your price,
that's what I think.
and a lot of times I'm not even, if they have it priced fairly, I don't even negotiate at all. So, if I'm paying you what you ask and now you're going to get upset. I had a lady one time, I bought a piece of patio furniture from her, and I don't believe I negotiated. She commented on my listing a couple days later saying, he's flipping all your stuff, mad face, and thought that was really interesting. But yeah, to avoid that, like I don't come out and say that. If someone asks, I kind of assess the situation. I always say, you seem really cool.
Yeah.
So, and then they go, oh, okay, he called me cool.
We're good.
Yeah. So yes, that is, I do flip. Some people get really upset, and I kind of go through that whole thing, and then they go, oh, well, yeah, I don't care. I'm not crazy.
Yep.
So.
All right. So your first one's done by my math, which I'm not great at. You made $320. How did you scale this? Because at some point, this became your full-time job.
Yes.
Is that correct? Like,
yes.
How quickly did that happen? Where you're like, this is what I do now. I flip furniture on Facebook.
Well, how quickly did it happen? I mean, when you go from only making, a couple $100, not even that after taxes a day, to making, over $300 on one flip that took you a couple hours, you quickly go, yeah, maybe I'm going to do this instead.
Yeah. I guess at what point were you like, I'm making more money doing this? Like, this is what I'm doing.
Day one.
Day one, you knew.
Yeah.
All right. So scale this for me for the viewers. like, how many couches or let's just use furniture.
Oh.
How many pieces of furniture do you think you flipped? And how long have you been doing this? How long? A year?
It's been about a year and a half now. Furniture and appliances. We've done couches, table sets, patio sets, got into fridges, some workout equipment, saunas, dabbled a little bit in a lot of different areas. You got to figure out what works, and some of it doesn't work as well.
Okay. What didn't work? What's an item that didn't work?
For me, and again, I'm sure someone is out there making a killing. Just because didn't work for me doesn't mean it won't work for someone. But for me personally, when I got into like fridges, that was tough because a lot of people expect warranties and that sort of thing, and those don't usually transfer ownership. Right?
Okay.
So there's going to be challenges there. And people are going to get, or they're just going to expect.
All right, I'm going to keep pushing you. So how many flips?
I know you are.
It doesn't need to be exact. Ballpark it for us.
It's been good. It's been really lucrative. Like I said, it afforded me to.
Like, have you done 100?
Well, yeah, over this amount of time.
Have you done 300?
Probably not quite. So now I like I was telling you, I kind of stay away from the free sections. I'd rather do less sales.
So you're switching to bigger ticket items.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
Got it. Interesting.
So, yeah, it's been really good.
All right, so you are now. So Connor is a full-time flipper. This is what you do for your career. So everyone's worried about. One of the things I think about is like, obviously you've heard the horror stories of buying things off like Craigslist and Market List. Have you had any scary situations where you're like, crap, I should not be here?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I've definitely had a couple where I've had to call Jerry or call one of our MMA friends, but you gotta. That's the nice thing about Facebook, and this is where Craigslist is really losing. It does allow you to give a little bit of a credit check.
That's true. Like you can see their profile, see if they've posted.
Exactly. So if the profile says, and this is something I had to learn, if it says created, November 2022, and they just have the generic face
one post
profile.
Sketch.
That's a scam all day long. So you got to be careful. And I've been in a maybe honestly probably just one or two situations where I actually felt unsafe.
Yeah.
You meet all kinds of people, and it's a networking machine. It really is. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, last question about money and number of transactions. So what is the? I just want people to get perspective of this because it blows my mind. What's the most you've ever made on a single transaction?
All right, I'll give that to you.
Woo, we're getting something.
Okay.
Give it to us.
And again, I'm gonna say this, but I want to follow it up too with one other thing. So the most I've ever made on one transaction was I bought a sauna from a real estate or an estate sale. It was a situation where I think it was, and this is something you would run into a lot if you're in this business. It was, I think, a divorce situation where they had to clean house, right? And within 10 minutes of this lady who was running the estate sale, she just worked as a contractor. She posted this sauna for $750 that I have sold before. So I knew
you knew the numbers.
I knew it was a good deal.
Yeah.
So I told her, I responded so quick. She told me that she thought I was a scam because I was so
you had that bot-like response.
Yeah, right. Yeah, fell into that a little bit. So I went and picked it up the next day for $750, and then I think it was maybe 10 days later I sold for $3,900.
Holy smokes!
So
that's nuts.
But I do want to say though too, just so people don't think that that's the norm. There are going to be those, and this is a really good business skill as well that you have to learn. You have to know when to take your losses just to free up cash flow too. I had another one last year. I picked up a piece in Wisconsin, and when I showed up, and you lose leverage the further you go, right? Because I driven all this way. I'm in Wisconsin, and I get there and I find all these things are wrong with it. And I end up way overpaying for it. I paid $1,000 for something that probably was worth less than half of that, and ended up having to let it go. I think for close to $700. So I drove to Wisconsin.
So it's not always winning. You've had some lessons.
You have some learners. And I mean, like that one, I lost $300, and I've taken losses in other areas too. But that's a good business lesson. I'm sure you can.
I can relate to
attest.
Bad deals.
What do you want to hold on to it for another 3 months to not?
I think even the harder thing I think of as you're saying that is when you're in a situation where you've expressed interest in something, you drove to Wisconsin to buy it, you probably knew you should have just walked away from it then.
100%.
And I think that takes a lot of discipline, and that's very hard. Right. So I think of it from two sides. One, why the heck did I why did I let myself buy that thing? Which is really emotional pressure.
Totally.
Like it's just like you feel indebted to the person because you asked them to take it down and not let anyone else buy it. And now you're here, you're like, crap. So I think that's the one. And then secondly, to your point is now can you let your stubbornness go to be like, all right, count my losses, lose quick, right? Or get out of this. That's
exactly. Yeah. That one, if it was just down the street, I know at that,
you would have walked?
I would have walked. But because I had gone that far, the emotions start to play. And you're like, I'm going to find a way to make money off of this. But, eventually, again, you just rather free up some cash, take the loss.
What's the most amount of, inventory you've had, items in your house? Did this get out of hand at some point where you're like, holy smokes, I'm becoming a warehouse?
My wife misses having a kitchen table. Let's just say that.
Okay. But I guess the bright side is she gets to experience lots of different kitchen tables.
Yeah, right. There you go. Yeah, we should tell her that.
But, we can tell her. But we can bring on a spouse of a flipper's personality and let her tell us what it's like.
Yeah. So I don't have a big house. I'm on 1,300 square feet, and I have a single back to a double or a.
Your neighbors think you're nuts.
Yeah, they're all doing normal jobs, right?
And you're loaded in and out of couches.
Yeah, I'm coming in now at 2:00 in the morning with furniture, but I have a 2-car garage that we honestly, just the way these houses are situated in kind of a city suburban area, nobody really parks in their garage anyway. So that became storage number one. And then I got my staging area, and then eventually I got a cargo van that I can fit probably another 2-3 pieces.
Nice.
in.
Well, that's a big move. You bought a van?
The van was the van.
Tell us about the van. How old's the van?
Okay, so the van was and I see a lot of people in the Ryan Pineda tree doing open bed trucks, and that's cool if that's what you're going to go with. The problem is it's not weatherproof.
Yeah, which in Michigan, I would think you're grabbing on a lot of rainy or snowy days.
Big issue. And he's out of Vegas, so he was fine, right? Rains one day.
Occasional windstorm.
Yeah. So the covering of the cargo van, gives you that, it not only is it transportation, it's another vessel for storage, right? So
do you get concerned when inventory starts stacking up? Or you're like, man, they're not moving quick enough? Or
oh yeah,
okay.
yeah. I mean, and you find out what's your kind of
what's your average shelf life? You think, like, how long is it with you before it goes?
Oh yeah, it's too much. I'll be honest.
Okay.
But it's probably in the ball. It's still under a month. Here's the problem. So and this is something I'm kind of navigating now. I'll have 8 or 9 out of 10 of my items will go within that 10-day period.
Yeah.
And then I have that 190-dayer. That ruins my average. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So when I hear you saying all of this, I know so many people are like, oh, I can do this idea. The thing that comes to mind when I hear you talking is how much absolute discipline you must have had to execute on this. Because I have to imagine this is activities every day, posting, buying, selling, posting, buying, selling pictures. Walk us through that journey of, like, what is it in you that allowed you to be like, all right, the grit. I mean, because we're not going to share exactly what you're making, but you're making damn good money flipping things off Facebook Marketplace, which is incredible. Don't make it sound easy to people, if you get what I'm saying, right? Because when I'm getting influenced by a video, I'm like, I can do that. It's the same thing like when we were having kids. Oh, you're going to love kids. You're like, I wish someone would have told me how difficult this would be, right? So, like, tell us the hard part. Like, what is the discipline that it takes to make money?
Man, I don't even know if I would call it discipline. I'm not trying to give you the...
Well, you have to, because that's what I said it was.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Call it whatever you want to call it.
Since it's your podcast, we'll call it...
Jeez, make me look good. Yeah. No, go ahead. What would you call it?
It's just one of those things where if you go from doing something you don't want to do to now doing something that you get at least some enjoyment out of.
Well, right? I would agree with you. The enjoyment makes anything easier.
For sure.
Right? Like, it's way easier to do something every day that you love than versus that you hate.
Right.
But it's still, you still have to do it every day and turn it into something that can actually take care of your family. Yeah. So, I mean, what were the challenges there?
That's a good point, right? Because, I've always had a boss, and you go, and I think this is kind of a good way to put it, that, now you're your own boss, right? And so nobody's telling you got to get that last sale, or you got to get that last purchase for the month or for the day even. And, a good way to answer that is be disciplined and keep track of your numbers, right? If you can't do spreadsheets, right, with at least purchase price, costs, sales, profit margins, break it down in a notebook in the most, you don't have to have an accounting background, but break it down in the most simplest way so you can look back.
I do think your numbers background helped with this some.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Which is huge.
For sure. But, have something you can at least reference month to month and go, okay, am I really building, or am I just staying the same, or worst case scenario, am I falling back? Because that's what you don't want. You want to be able to scale.
You feel a lot of pressure now. Like, it's, when you get to, like, meaningful money coming in, like, do you have fear of losing it? Does that exist?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and you gotta be careful, because I got really good, which is a good skill to have too, at being broke, right? Yeah. And having kids and trying to raise a family, and going to the grocery store with, less than $100 in my pocket. But you got to be really careful as the income increases just a little bit. And I'm not rich, but
and your cash flow is your buying power, right? So
exactly.
that's the constant balance in this situation.
Yeah. And we, me and my wife, we talked, we have our money, and you got to stay disciplined. Here's a good example of discipline. It's like, hey, if our cash flow is low, can I take some of this, move it over here, invest in the inventory, and I'll get it back, honey. And she's been really I'm lucky. She's really open to things like that. But I don't want to lose. I don't want to leave money on the table, right?
Sure.
If there's a deal to be made,
you're going to do whatever you can to make it happen.
Exactly. I don't want, just because I don't have business cash, to be the reason I can't go and get that. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. No, I don't certainly want to give away your secrets, but I think what I'm hearing you is, you started small, and you seem to be interested in working your way up into those larger transactions. Does this pivot into real estate for you at some point? Do you have interest in that, or what?
Yeah, I think it's inevitable. Okay. Most of the guys on YouTube that start, doing furniture flipping or anything like this, it seems to the end game seems to be real estate, even if you try to avoid it, which I'm fine with. I don't know exactly what I want to do, but a lot of the same skills you get from furniture, just product flipping, translate very well to real estate.
Lots of things, yeah.
Yeah. So it just, it makes sense why people are doing it. And yeah, I'm sure we'll have this conversation next year, see where I'm at.
See how many houses we got under the belt.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, so far this has been great. I just wanted everyone to hear, when we talk about, I think my point with this podcast is I hear a lot of people say there's not opportunity. I can't find, I'm just like, there's so many different ways to make money right now. It's insane. You can do it from your phone with a truck, right? And I think it comes down to having an idea and then your ability to execute on that, which you've done. Let's move on a minute. There's a couple things knowing you that I need to cover. So one of the things I know about you is that you scare easily. And would you?
Why he's here.
No. That's not why he's here. So tell everyone about you getting scared. People have been scaring Connor a long time. You have that Ellen DeGeneres, she would love to have you on, I'm sure, and scare you. But talk to what's
I've
this?
gotten that before.
What's this being scared thing about?
I don't know what it is. I'm not very.
And when I mean scared, he's just a jumpy guy.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not very manly, and people know this. Who knows?
Tell that to your arms. I'm just kidding.
No, but they're fake. But I always thought my wife would be the one to go get the spider or go check in the basement.
Yeah,
and it's still me.
It's still you.
And
all right.
She's even worse with the jump.
That's
got
to be hard.
Yeah, but obviously, yeah.
Do you guys ever one person gets jumpy scared and then it scares the other person and you both pass out or
all
something?
the time? Well, no, yeah, we there's no there, and then if you met my dog, there's just not a lot of masculinity going on in the household. So,
all right.
But one story is I came home one time, my roommates jumped out and they were dressed as demons or something, and I started crying. I think they have it on film somewhere.
So maybe we'll tag that in the post.
Yeah.
You seem to always get a kick out of it after. You don't seem too traumatized.
I'm always I'm gonna get you back, but they don't get scared. And they started giving feel bad reactions because then I would scare them and they'd be like, and I'd be like, don't even. I hate that. Just don't act scared.
So one thing I know about Connor, I know in a long time, you have a great sense of humor. You love laughter, even when people are scaring the crap out of you. It's funny to you. Jesus, Jerry, you scared me, and the camera's on me.
I was looking right at him,
so it didn't work. So that's a scare fail on our podcast. Originally, he was supposed to jump out of that door, but then I somehow let him know you'd be here.
If you do that, then
we'll get you on air. But all right, so
there'll be no more couch.
You have big dreams from a career perspective. You're doing something outside of flipping. So talk to us about this comedy thing and stand-up comedy and tell everyone about that. And you're starting your own podcast, which I want to make sure we cover. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so that's always been a dream of mine, getting into stand-up, and I've always been a fan. Growing up, I remember watching Jim Gaffigan.
This is going to be a tough conversation for you because I don't know any names. But yeah, that guy. Yeah,
it's okay. Yeah.
Tell us more.
I'll send you some stuff. Yeah. But yeah, we were. I remember my mom and I watching a lot of stand-up growing up, and I was just and then I'd go to school and I'd try to have punchlines in class, and some of the teachers hated it, some of them loved it, but that was kind of the stage early on, and then put it off for a long time, and I'm 30 now, but yeah, earlier this year, took the introductory course at Mark Ridley's in Royal Oak, Michigan, and Bill Bashart runs it there. He's a local legend. He's a master of the game.
He's funny.
What's that? Yeah, he's funny.
Just checking.
Trying
to keep up. I know more about business than comedy, but this is fun.
Bill Bashart, he's the man. And, because basically the way these guys structure it is, right? We know you guys, you think you're funny or you're funny coming in, right? And you probably are, but you don't know how to structure jokes for stand-up, and that's what they teach you. And without them, I'd be 2 or 3 years behind, I feel like. So yeah, started doing, open mics and getting in the game. And I'm still.
How's it gone? I mean, it's gone well, right? You've
it's
done
going,
some contests.
It's going good. It's going good. I'm really, really new. To be honest.
Do you feel like Do you feel like the getting into the flipping kind of like freed you up to be creative, getting out of that like normal day to day?
100%. Yeah. Because before. And again, and I'm not like everyone needs to go do what I'm doing. And some people are really good, and it just makes sense for their lifestyle to be employees and to be high level employees, right? But for me personally, this is the best thing that I've found to give me that freedom and flexibility to pursue these things in the entertainment realm that aren't paying bills yet.
Yeah. So what would you say to anyone out there? I mean, I don't know. I feel like what you've done is so inspirational. You've started a business with your cell phone and a few $100, and you're crushing it, which is awesome. What would you say to people who are in a situation where they feel stuck, like they can't get out of that day to day? They want to be an entrepreneur. Excuse me. Maybe they want to flip. Like how would you encourage them?
Yeah, I think, and again, this might be the accountant in me, but when you look at what I did, and if you have either, for me it was my mom, but if you have a friend or, everybody knows somebody with a truck, and you can probably, set something up where, hey, can I borrow your truck for 1 or 2 days, for one for the pickup and one for the delivery? Go try something like this, right? At worst case scenario, I was going to have a $280 couch that I couldn't get rid of.
Yeah.
Is that what my life's downfall is going to be? Probably not. So put yourself in situations, where the cost or the risk isn't so great.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, because there's a lot of people that you watch on social media who are just like, quit everything, move and be homeless, sell out. And you're like, or just like try a couch in your spare time, right? Like,
right.
Yeah, that's great advice.
Yeah, what there's, like I said, the risk for me and still is, honestly, if I'm being honest, is still very minimal, right?
Yeah.
If let's say this all goes away tomorrow, I don't know what could happen, but I can go back to my job. I can go get another job. And, so yeah.
I feel like what you've learned through doing this, you're well past the point I don't see you ever not being an entrepreneur at this point.
No, I agree 100%. I'm talking like worst case scenario.
Yeah, to your point.
Yeah. And again, I just want to emphasize, right? And it doesn't have to be couch flipping, but whatever it is, just find something, right, where it's like the risk is zero or near zero.
Yeah.
And you're not going to lose everything if it doesn't work out, because and it sounds cliche, but it's true. You're just going to end up learning something, and you just parlay that into the next venture.
Yeah. Well, and everything you've learned. You've learned marketing. You've learned the ability to evaluate worth. There's so much value you've got. Yeah. I'm probably way more than college, if we're being honest. I know we're both a couple of finished college guys.
Yeah. And I'm not. I know you like Gary Vee.
I love Gary Vee. Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah. I was just watching a clip.
We really? I'm just kidding.
I was just watching him talk about college, but no, it makes sense for a lot of people. I'm not anti college, but for a lot of people, right? And I'm stealing this from Gary, but would we ever in 50 years ago give kids $100,000 plus to throw money at something that might work?
You want to talk about risk,
right? Exactly.
And I think that's what I think. I think college, I'm with you, it has its place. There's career fields that it's a
100%.
requirement. But I think even my frustration from an education perspective, I was lucky enough to go to a technical school for some of the time. It was called BMMT, Business Marketing Management Technology. But outside of that, like, why don't they teach flipping concepts in school? You ever think of that? Like, hey, here, let's have a class on buying something and selling it for more. Welcome to business. Like, it just seems non-existent.
Because they don't want to teach you how bad of a return on investment your college tuition is.
Yeah. Well, you're probably right. Yeah. I just think there's opportunity everywhere. And I love what you said earlier. You got into something that you enjoyed doing, and it became tremendously more easy than things that you did not enjoy, which then tied into that motivation and that discipline to allow you to move forward, which is, I think that in itself is the story of just do what you love. But if you're sitting at home and you feel like there's nothing better out there for you, man, maybe start watching some YouTube videos. Who knows what'll happen?
Just try something.
Yeah.
If you can minimize your risk, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah. All right. Well, this has been awesome. Thank you for joining. this is one of many stories we're doing. Connor has a podcast starting. I will share his social links in the post of this so you can go follow his comedy career and hit him up for any flipping questions. I know you're passionate about helping people.
Yes, sir.
And man, you motivated me. You got me thinking of a bunch of things. But this has been great. So thank you for joining Success Starters. We'll see you in a week or so with our next guest, a realtor who went from pastor to school teacher to realtor and being one of the biggest realtors in the state, which is pretty nuts. So I'm excited to talk about him. So
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Dude, thanks for coming,
Have a
man.
great time.
Talk soon.
All right.